Good evening. Welcome to the Skokie Village Board meeting of May 4th, 2026. We will be led this evening in the Pledge of Allegiance by our village clerk, Manal Desai. Please rise if you are able.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee Lissa Levy has requested to be present remotely. Does anyone object to her remote participation? Okay, if not, we will consider that approved, and I would ask that our village clerk, Manal Desai, please call the roll.
Trustee Pure-Slovan?
Here.
Trustee Schechter?
Here.
Trustee Kimani Levy?
Here.
Trustee Robinson is absent. Trustee Iverson?
Here.
Trustee Lissa Levy?
Here.
Mayor Tennis?
Here, and we have a quorum. Before we begin this evening's business, I once again must make some comments to my colleagues and to our community and our community partners. So in the last 2 weeks, sadly, we've had 3 incidents in Skokie parks involving youth using anti-Semitic language, and in 2 of the incidents, these escalated into physical altercations. Please know that the Village of Skokie, our police department, we are working very closely with our valued partner, the Skokie Park District, and there will be accountability. These events, sadly, follow an anti-Semitic hate crime involving children in a Skokie park last fall. This pattern is becoming clear, and it is a pattern that we categorically reject for our community. Every person in Skokie deserves to feel safe, respected, and supported, without exception. Here is what we are doing, the actions we are taking, how we are following through, right here, right now. Together with the Skokie Park District, the village is launching a community-wide campaign focused on upstanding and kindness. This will set clear expectations for behavior, give residents tools to intervene safely, and reinforce a culture where respect is the norm and hate is confronted. Our partner, the Skokie Park District, is exploring the use of cameras in parks, although it is very important to note that Park District leadership has advised that state law prohibits those cameras from capturing audio. At the same time, the Skokie Police Department will increase its visible presence. As the weather warms up, they will initiate regular roll calls and other activities in our parks to reinforce safety and deterrence. We are equipping those who work most closely with our youth. The Park District, our valued partner, is implementing targeted training on anti-Semitism, upstanding, and incident management for summer camp counselors and leadership at our pools so that they are prepared to prevent, recognize, and respond to harmful, hurtful behavior. This idea resulted from Skokie Human Relations Commission discussions after the hate crime last October. Importantly, we are aligning our community institutions around a shared approach. We are actively convening both elected and administrative school leadership, faith leaders, and Jewish organization partners to coordinate prevention, education, reporting, and response. We are continuing to build community in visible, positive ways, including exploring opportunities like a community-wide youth basketball tournament this summer in partnership with a major Chicago sports organization and supported by faith and community leaders to bring young people together in a fun, shared activity across cultures and backgrounds to see each other as people. We will continue to track hate crimes and bias incidents across the village, and we are calling our schools to join in a unified, community-wide approach. With consistent data, we can target interventions, measurable results, and hold individuals, youth and parents alike, accountable. And we are continuing the work of our Human Relations Commission to advance anti-Semitism awareness and training, work that began after the October 7th, 2025 hate crime, and this work continues with urgency. To be clear, this is a whole of community effort. Government cannot do this alone. Our schools cannot do this alone. Neither can our faith leaders. It requires all of us setting expectations, modeling behavior, speaking up, and refusing to look the other way. So again, I'll ask every person in this room tonight, all of our community partners, how will you step up? What will you do to help ensure that every neighbor in Skokie, in every corner of our community, feels safe, respected, and that they belong here? We will continue to act. We will continue to follow through. And we will make it clear through our actions that hate has no place in Skokie. Thank you. And with that, I would ask if any of my colleagues, I'll start with Trustee Allison Pierce-Slovan.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your remarks. I think it was very important for people to understand, as I've received numerous phone calls from the Jewish community with great concern and understandably. But we need to reassure everybody to stop the rumors and conjecture. This village has been meeting with numerous, as the mayor pointed out, commissioners, with employees, with faith leaders, and we are going to continue on this journey. So you have to know, just because you haven't heard that things aren't happening doesn't mean things aren't. And that's why all of us are here to help serve. If you have questions, call any of us. Please don't continue to pass the rumors. But I want to thank the mayor and the chief of police and the village manager and the Commission on Human Relations for taking all of these horrible hate incidents very seriously and for continuing with action steps going forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Pierce-Slovan. Any other comments from those at the dais? Trustee Schechter.
I just wanted to reinforce my support for you, Mayor Tennis, and support for the comments of Trustee Pierce-Slovan. And I want to encourage everybody in the village to participate in the Human Relations Commission. Trustee Pierce-Slovan and I are the two trustees to our Human Relations Commission, which has done a lot of work over the last couple of months to find facilitators that would work with the village to do some training on the history of Jews in Skokie, on anti-Semitism and stopping it, and those are really important. And I also want to underscore that we have work to do for every population. I was speaking with a resident recently who told me at Niles North that her daughter who is black, that friends said, oh, you're not invited to my house because your mother is black. And, and I said, at Niles North, I mean, here, in a very diverse area, and so it's pervasive, and we really need to be doing something.
Thank you, Trustee Schechter. I would also like to mention before closing this discussion that we are also looking at possibly engaging with a Cook County-wide initiative called Cook County United Against Hate. It has been offered successfully in some of our neighboring counties or areas and communities, and we are exploring that as a possible community-wide effort to combat this anti-Semitism and hate. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there anyone on the dais or in the room who would like to have something removed from the consent agenda? Sir?
The flags.
Okay. That is under
Corporation Council.
Corporation Councils. It is removed. What that means is that when that item comes up, we will address it separately rather than as part of the consent agenda. So with that said, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended? Yes, moved by trustee Pierce-Lovan, seconded by trustee Kamani Levy. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Lissa Levy?
Aye.
Trustee Pierce-Lovan?
Aye.
Trustee Schechter?
Aye.
Trustee Kamani Levy?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes. I would like to, before we move on, I would like to point out just a couple of things that were on the consent agenda that I believe are worth noting. One of the first ones is that we are appointing 4 new commissioners tonight, and 2 of them, I believe, two are present. Ms. Vesna Zahos, who is being approved to the beautification, appointed to the Beautification and Improvement Commission, and Mr. Nick Greifer, who is being appointed to our Economic Development Commission. Would you stand so we could give you a round of applause? Marcus Hayes, I just wanted to make sure. Nope, Mr. Hayes. We also appointed Marcus Hayes to the Public Safety Commission and Ms. Anna Popa to the Skokie Police Use of Force Review Board. We thank all of you for your service, and I think this brings to 65 or 66 the number of individuals that this board has appointed to serve on advisory boards and commissions since last August. I'd like to thank 2 commissioners who are resigning, Peggy Molina from the Commission on Family Services and Olivia Mahoney from the Sustainable Environmental Advisory Commission. They have both been on those commissions for some time and have made very significant contributions to those groups' work, so we thank them for their service. With that said, the next item on the agenda is proclamations and resolutions. We have 2 this evening. First, we will recognize the month of May as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Village Clerk Manal Desai will read the proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community constitutes the fastest growing minority group in the United States and is an important element of our unique Skokie mosaic. And whereas the achievements of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders have contributed to our nation's and Skokie's progress and prosperity in a wide range of fields, including art, architecture, literature, education, government, law, industry, commerce, medicine, science and technology, thus having contributed to the quality of life for everyone. And whereas Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders, and all those who journeyed to the United States in pursuit of freedom and liberty are an important part of our nation's foundation, and whereas the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community is visible and active as its members make significant strides towards full participation and equal opportunity in all walks of life. Now, therefore, Mayor Tennis, Mayor of the Village of Skokie, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and urge all residents to join the celebration, recognizing their infinite contributions to our great village.
Thank you. Also this evening, we are recognizing the month of May as Jewish American Heritage Month. Trustee Allison Pierce-Lovan will read the proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas for nearly 370 years, Jews have profoundly contributed to America's history, society, and culture. And whereas in 2006, then President George W. Bush established May as Jewish American Heritage Month to honor the long history of Jewish Americans and the many contributions of Jewish Americans to American culture, history, military, science, government, education, and all areas of American life. And whereas the proud heritage of Jewish Americans is a reminder of our nation's constitutional commitment to religious freedom and the importance of a dedication to community and history. And whereas the United States is experiencing a serious rise in anti-Semitic activity and Jewish Americans are the target of 60% of religiously based hate crimes and bias-based incidents. And whereas our society needs to reaffirm our rejection of anti-Semitic bigotry and our commitment to never compromise our steadfast support for the Jewish community. Now therefore, the mayor of the village of Skokie, Ann Tennis, hereby proclaims the month of May as Jewish American Heritage Month. In the village of Skokie, we express appreciation for the significant contributions made by Jewish Americans to the diverse community that comprises the village of Skokie, the state of Illinois, and the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comment. This public comment period and the one at the end of the meeting this evening is for addressing the village board in regard to items that are not included in this evening's agenda. Each person is allotted up to a precise 3 minutes. Please note that this is an opportunity for individuals to address the village board, and the village board will be listening, but we will not respond. This agenda item at the beginning is for up to 10 speakers. Please also note that speakers who comment during the first public comment period may not speak again during the later public comment period. I see we have folks who are ready to address the board. We'd ask for your name and if you care to share what community you live in.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, and my neighbors. My name is Michelle Mackenzie Voigt. I've been a resident of Skokie for almost 44 years, and I recently retired from a 50-year career at WTTW, which is the PBS station in Chicago. I appreciate the board's commitment to neighborhood safety and character. However, the board's newly adopted 18-month pilot program that went into effect May 1st to restrict short-term rentals has gone far, much too far. The regulatory effect amounts to a de facto ban on a helpful community service and a source of income for a deserving sector of Skokie's population. Skokie can enforce noise and trash regulations without effectively banning a business model that helps local residents, many of them retired, maintain their lifestyle. We are punishing good operators because of a few bad actors. To put it in clear terms, the pilot initiative is taking direct income away from several Skokie families, and it may be forcing many to consider leaving the market altogether. I'm a close friend of Joaquin and Patricia Mejia. For years, they have opened their home to people from all over the world. They're not big investors. They have a spare room and a basement unit that they rent out to make ends meet. And at the same time, they truly believe in a warm, home-provided hospitality. They welcome to their home people from all walks of life, not unlike our village. The fees and permits necessary to operate are burdensome and unreasonably high. On the basis of renting a room for around $100 a night, these fees make it impossible to operate as a home-based business. And equally important, the mandated 5-day minimum stay is another destructive part of this pilot program. Many visitors come to our community for a weekend or 2 or 3 days during the week. They're here for hospitals, they're here for students or family members at Northwestern or other local schools, for shopping, but They're here for the personal experience that only a family-operated business can offer, as opposed to the impersonal experience of staying at a more expensive Chicago hotel. And they're looking for the opportunity to meet our residents who are willing to offer them genuine, heartfelt hospitality. I urge the board, in the strongest terms possible, to reconsider the 5-day minimum and high licensing fees, which are punitive, not regulatory, and to take action now. I'd also like to note that you knew who these homes were, and to my knowledge, no of them knew of this program going into effect. I voted for transparency in government, and that's what I would hope the village board would provide. Thank you for listening.
No, we will not, this is not a sporting event. We are not going to have applause. Ms. Grodnicki.
This is going to take a little bit of technology. Yep, that one. Okay, so last time I talked about leaf blowers and how they were a problem for a lot of reasons. For example, they're bad for the operators because the gas-powered leaf blowers are very noisy, and a lot of the operators do not wear hearing protection. We don't know whether they're being given them or not by their employers, but they're not wearing them. They're breathing in the toxic fumes and the debris that these very powerful leaf blowers are kicking up. Staying with the debris, people passing by have to walk through or bike through, as I've done many times, this cloud of debris that, sure, they turn off the leaf blower, but it doesn't immediately settle when they see you coming. And so you just, at 12, 15 miles an hour, you're passing through this cloud of debris, and you get stuff in your eyes and in your lungs, and it's not great. As far as the neighbors are concerned, it is incredibly disruptive to anybody trying to work from home. And everybody I know who's tried to work from home absolutely hates these things. It's destructive to wildlife. These disrupt the insects that are in the ground. They blow the debris so high because they're so powerful that they disrupt the bird nests and the squirrel nests in the trees. And in terms of the climate, operating one of these things for about an hour is like driving a car for 300 miles. I mean, they are really, really bad in terms of the climate and global warming. So objections from the landscapers are all BS. They'll say, oh, it costs too much to get the electric ones, but the cost of the equipment plus an extra battery is insignificant next to the ongoing maintenance cost and fuel. And by the way, the Oak Park Park District built on their trailer where they keep their lawn equipment solar panels. So now they're charging batteries as they're out in the field operating, and they just swap out the batteries when needed, and then it's just charging right there on the spot. And they're not even paying for any more electricity. The landscapers say, oh, these things aren't strong enough, because the residential grade blowers are all you need for these postage stamp lots. I'm not talking about the golf course. And the commercial grade electric blowers are closer in strength to the gas-powered equipment than they were even a few years ago when this board heard a presentation from the sustainability coordinator and the assistant director of public works. And then to say, oh, we don't have anyone who knows how to maintain them, so find someone, learn a new skill. The other thing is when they say, oh, it costs too much, well, what is the cost of not switching, right? That's the question that I want you guys to keep asking yourself every time somebody comes and objects and say, oh, it costs too much to do this environmentally friendly thing. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Actually, didn't take up the whole time.
Would you kindly just say your name for the record? I introduced you as you were walking up, but it's best if you said your name.
I'm Lauren Grodnicki. I live in Devonshire.
Thank you. Mr. Shah.
I'm Imran Shah, Skokie resident. Good evening. I'm here because this leadership is failing the residents of Skokie, and people are fed up. Residents are dealing with rats in their neighborhoods, broken water infrastructure, homes still fed with lead water lines that should be unacceptable in any village, let alone Skokie. We've seen broken water lines, ongoing infrastructure issues. The same pattern continues. Slow response, no accountability, no urgency. This is not one issue. This is a pattern. Public safety is a concern. Fire and safety standards are not being enforced consistently. Serious issues raised by residents are not being addressed. We are also seeing hate incidents and rising tensions in this community. Leadership should be clear and proactive on issues like this, and that confidence is not there. Residents come to this podium looking for help and instead feel dismissed. When leadership doesn't listen, concerns are brushed off, and the tone from the top is disrespectful. That trickles down into every department, which is why residents experience rude and unresponsive staff. This is a leadership problem. There is also a governance issue. Too much power appears concentrated in one place with not enough oversight. The board is supposed to lead, not follow. The village manager works for this board and the residents, not the other way around. Right now, that balance does not exist. So I'm going to be very clear again. John Lockerbie, the village manager, should be removed as village manager. What we are seeing, mismanagement, lack of accountability, failure to listen is not working. And to the mayor, residents come here to be heard and treated with respect. Dismissive and visibly frustrated reactions undermine trust in this leadership. After months of residents raising concern, the lack of direct engagement shows they're not being heard. Trustees, this is your responsibility. You are here to represent the residents and ensure leadership is doing its job. That means asking hard questions, exercising independent judgment, not simply going along. Right now, residents do not feel that. That needs to change. Leadership is not meeting the standard. It needs to be corrected now. Skokie deserves better leadership that listens, takes safety seriously, and puts residents first. This village exists to serve its residents, not the leadership. You serve the residents of Skokie, not yourselves. Start acting like it. Thank you.
Mr. Dalka. Yeah, he'll resend it. Yeah, he'll resend it. Okay.
I have the full 3 minutes like you gave Mr. Godrocki, please. Good evening. My name is David Dalka. I live at 9330 Laurel. I'm a permanent resident of Skokie, but like the last speaker, I don't feel represented. I agree with Trustee Schechter and Trustee Pierce-Sullivan that going to those things, those commissions are important. I attended in December. We had a nice meal together, and you both promised me to meet in person to discuss the concerns at our, and in and around our property. You have yet to do so. Trustee Kamani-Levy has also not met with us, though she allegedly represents our district. We continue to have serious problems with infrastructure in this village. Currently, our house has flickering lights due to a pole in the back in our alley that it's leaning towards the ComEd fields because they put a new pole about a couple dozen feet down last summer. That pole's pulling that pole there. It's pulling the connection out of our wall. That's a fire hazard, lady. Mayor one term. That's you, Mayor one term. You need to have the fire department, who is not here again at this meeting. Mr. Fire Chief Eichner is never at this meeting, like his predecessor. I expect the fire commissioner to come to our house tomorrow, inspect this issue, and work with ComEd to put a new pole in that's straight, fix the connection that's broken on our house that's damaging our property, and put in a new line, which they agreed needed to be done because it hasn't been done in 50 years. But they refused to do that until the connection's there. They're trying to say the connection is our problem. The connection is the village's problem because Russ, your incompetent engineer that needs to be removed, you hired a new public works director, you need to hire a new engineer. That needs to be fixed. We expect that help tomorrow. In addition, with infrastructure, the AT&T fiber issue in our part of the village has not been fixed. Today, there was a chemical spill on the Edens Expressway. We continue to waste fire and police resources while the Edens Expressway is in massive disrepair. The stop and go lights on the on-ramps have not been working for 18 months. There is portions of the road that are almost not passable even driving half the speed, especially at Old Orchard Road, where we have not fixed those things. If that chemical spill had been a more dangerous chemical, this meeting wouldn't be occurring right now. This is a regular occurrence. Every time I look at Nextdoor, there's an alert on there saying there's a major accident on the Edens. What is this village doing about that? What is this village doing about public safety in general? The stop sign that I talked about during the budget meeting has still not been installed at Gene Stenson School. None of the items during the budget meetings have been correctly and properly followed up with me. The general counsel has never followed up with my letter and email.
Mr. Tonka, your time is...
Nobody is following up, nobody's doing their job.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the report of the village manager.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. Item A of the manager's report was approved under tonight's consent agenda. And that would complete my report.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the report of our corporation counsel, Mr. Stephen Elrod, and we're noting that item C was removed from consent. B and C, excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor. There are actually 6 items on the Corporation Council's report, not quite as short as the village manager's report. 3 items were approved on the consent agenda. The ordinance making significant enhancements to our affordable housing ordinance and creating a housing fund and community land trust. An ordinance that approved a special use for 7309 Monticello, and an ordinance that made 4 significant amendments to the bulk regulations of our zoning code. All 3 of those matters were discussed at the April 20th village board meeting and passed on first reading, so they passed on second reading on tonight's consent agenda. One item that was removed from the consent agenda is, and I'll introduce it, Mayor, is the matter concerning the village flag. This actually concerns 2 items. First is an ordinance, which is in the way of an enabling ordinance. It's an ordinance that amends the municipal code to give the village board the authorization to adopt an official design for the village's flag. And then the second one, and that enabling ordinance requires the village board to act by resolution. The second item is the resolution, taking the authority that has been would be granted by the municipal code provision and adopt a flag design. This item was put initially on the consent agenda because it was discussed in great detail at the April 20th meeting. And so the ordinance and resolution are now on your agenda. You may want to consider seeking a motion.
Thank you, yes. So
And you could do those in omnibus fashion.
Okay, great. So I'd ask for a single motion to both amend Section 2-2 of the Village Code concerning adoption of a village flag, and then in tandem with that, a resolution approving a new village flag design. Is there a motion? Trustee Pure Slovan, seconded by Trustee Schechter. Thank you. Would any discussion from the board? Okay. Would anyone in the audience, yes, Mr. Dalka. When there is an item, before Mr. Dalka begins, when there is an action item before the board, we open the floor for up to 15 minutes. And again, each speaker is allowed up to a precise 3 minutes to address the board. Mr. Dalka.
Thank you. David Dalka, 9330 Laurel. I rise, not an objection to the concept of a new flag, I rise in objection to somebody that sat through several of the recent budget meetings and looking at the number of things this village can't afford to do right now. I'm gonna say this item belongs on that list because it's gonna cost, I don't know how much money to reprint garbage cans, reprint flags, reprint flyers, reprint all these different things and push them around in different ways. Meanwhile, we still don't have a full commitment for a 4th ambulance to be funded 24/7, 365, which is what I've been asking for over a year now. Our family is owed money for the destruction of our parkway, which with Trustee Iverson and Trustee Robinson both agree needs to be restored. I again request instructions on how to get quotes and get that money, so we can do that, since the village has, again, this year done nothing about it this spring, despite the fact that two different trustees came to the house, agreed that needed to be done, and looked at those things. I think that maybe talking to ComEd about, making their infrastructure underground, like many other villages, like Mount Prospect and others have, might help. I wouldn't have the problem I have right now if that had been happening. I think there's priorities that are bigger than this flag, and I don't object to the flag, and I don't object to the design, I don't object to anything about the flag. I just object to its prioritization over all the items in my June 5th, 2025 letter that are unresolved. The fact that the police aren't doing their job with white-collar crime, the fact that we need a new commander for the investigations team from an outside police force. I just don't know that we can afford the tens of thousands or perhaps even hundreds of thousands of dollars that this thing will cost at this time. Maybe in a future year we could re-explore it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dalka. Is there anyone else who would like to address the village board about this matter? There being none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Lisa Levy?
Aye.
Trustee Pierce-Lovin?
Aye.
Trustee Schechter?
Aye.
Trustee Kimani Levy?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion is approved, and our acting village manager this evening, Nick Wyatt, will make a comment.
Sure. The village logo and the village seal appears on the trash cans, the village fleet vehicles, and that's already been changed or in the process of changing. The change with the new village flag that was approved tonight, we'll just have to replace a handful of flags at several locations, as well as the village boardroom, which could cost less than $1,000.
Thank you.
Mayor, the final item on the Corporation Council agenda concerns two proposed policies. They're independent, but the board asked that they be considered, and my office prepared drafts for the village to consider. You'll recall that the village, acting as a committee of the whole, discussed at length both policies. One is adoption of a new policy governing the public comment time or during public meetings, not only for the village board, but for all meetings of bodies of the village. And the second is a code of conduct for the elected officials and appointed officials. That means the 7 members of this board, as well as the appointed members of each and every one of the village's boards and commissions. I'll give you a high-level overview of both of those at this time, although I know that you have discussed them as a board, and the complete text has been published on the village's website as part of this agenda. The public comment rules, I'm going to read a passage from the rules that gives the general overview and the gist of what the rules are attempting to address. And that is that the village recognizes that public participation and public input enhances the effectiveness of local governance and improves the quality of its decisions, and that knowledge and talent are widely dispersed in the community, and the village benefits when those skills and abilities are brought to the attention of decision makers during public meetings. Now, the dilemma here is found in the next paragraph, which recognizes that the primary purpose of the meetings of the village board and commission is to allow the elected or appointed officials to discuss and take action on policy and other business necessary to achieve the mission, goals, and objectives of that board and commission. But it's also recognized that public input is integral to the process. So what the rules are designed to do is to bring both together and allow both to occur at a public meeting in an orderly, efficient, productive, and most important, that was an editorial comment by me, respectful manner by both the members of the board and the members of the public. What these rules do specifically, again, at a very high level, they provide the time periods, and they officially adopt the pilot program that has been in place, Mayor, since you were in office for the past little more than a year, or about exactly a year, where there will be a public comment time at the beginning of a meeting for 30 minutes and a public comment time at the end of the meeting for 15 minutes. And that each speaker is limited to a strict 3 minutes, and that will be applied across the board, no more, no less, for any speaker. Some of the additional comments or provisions in here, and this was intended, but now it's codified, that public comment time is not intended to be a back and forth forum or a dialogue between the public comment maker and the public body. Rather, it's the opportunity for the public comment maker to speak to the board. The board will listen and then will determine at a later date if action is necessary, and perhaps will direct the staff to take action. But no one should expect a response during public comment time. The other provision that's in here is when the committee of the whole meets on the same night as the village board meeting, public comment time will occur only during the village board meeting. The rules make clear that a speaker does not have the ability to yield his or her time to another speaker, and that if somebody is speaking on behalf of a number of residents, they don't get any more time. Speakers must speak only from the podium. These new rules strictly prohibit the use of any of the village's audio, visual, and projector systems for overhead displays or for PowerPoint presentations during public comment time. The rules make it clear that the members of the board are to be addressed by their title: mayor, trustee, members of the village board. The rules also make clear that the village values a diversity of opinions and respectfully requests that comments be free from hate, harassment, or derogatory language about people based on age, race, ethnicity, country of origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, ability, religion, income, political persuasion, or cultural practice. And that the following provisions will be strictly prohibited by any speaker: conduct or speech that is imminently threatening to any person, that incites violence or that is obscene, or conduct that is disorderly and disrupts or interferes with the ability of the public body to conduct the public meeting. There's more, but that's a high-level overview of what's in these proposed public comment rules. I'll move on to the next one, Mayor, unless you want to take them, take comment on them separately. Up to you.
No, go ahead, you do the next one.
The other policy that has been drafted for your consideration is a code of conduct. The first one was more or less a code of conduct for the speakers. This is a code of conduct that if adopted, you would be imposing upon yourselves. This is a code of conduct for elected officials. It does, just like the other policy, would also apply, if adopted, to all members of your boards and commissions. And at a high level, it recognizes that members represent, will represent their respective office and the village with honesty, dignity, and professionalism at all time. And it has, as another major tenet, the concept that the good of the community is greater than the weight of any individual opinion or personal interest. The code of conduct requires civility, that members should at all time be respectful of each other, of the village staff, and of visitors attending the meeting. And it goes into detail about respect for each other, respect for the village staff, and respect for speakers. Members should be fair, patient, and respectful of all individuals who speak before or make presentations to the public body at public meetings or at public hearings. Mayor, again, these rules contain a great deal of important information that has been discussed at length by the Committee of the Whole, and this is just a high-level.
Thank you. I'll start off our discussion by saying how proud I am of the work that this board has done to change the way public comment is held at our meetings. In the past, public comments were always relegated to the very end of the meeting. And tonight, we have a full agenda. We're going to hear from a lot of our community social service partners who are applying for community development block grant funds. And for those who want to address the board, we've already heard from 5 residents, and in the past, those residents would still be waiting to address us. So I'm proud of the work that we've done. I'm also proud of the way that we are really working towards consistency across the entire organization with up to a precise 3 minutes, and other rules that are in here that will make for an orderly, again, I think the most important thing is consistent public comment process. As far as the rules for the board, the code of conduct, I appreciate the very initial work on this that occurred at our village board retreat last November, where before we got started that day, and we spent an entire Sunday talking about the strategic plan and our vision and our goals, that we laid out many of the tenets that are in this document. So what's in there actually had its roots in our work together in last November. Any other comments from the dais? Trustee Schechter.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate the great work that went into both of these documents, and I have to say, I personally felt very strongly that we needed that code of conduct as a companion to the public comment, and so I'm very much supportive of these rules. I also wanted to mention the importance of public comment, that piece of it that basically says that the public, that the people in Skokie have ideas, they have comments, they live, they're on the ground literally, having experiences and have suggestions. So to the extent that we use public comment to get constructive feedback, to get ideas, that's really important. And I just want to add, and this is separate from passing this, that we consider in the future some further experimentation with ways in which that we could have, constructive dialogues with residents, kind of what we did with the strategic plan around different issues to solicit ideas.
We will be doing that. Particularly, I think the next one will likely be with the economic vitality. And, back to where we started tonight, sadly, sadly but necessarily, there will be meetings about hate and anti-Semitism. So, thank you, Trustee Schechter. Other comments from the board? Trustee Iverson.
I just want to briefly say that, as with Trustee Schechter, I think that what you've laid out is great. And it's detailed and thorough, and yet the principles are very straightforward and very familiar, I think, to everyone. If you take the time to read through it all, you'll see all the necessary details, but it really is just nice and simple as to what we need to do to behave. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Iverson. We will not be voting on these items tonight. They are for first read and discussion. They will come back for second read at our next meeting. But regardless, I'd like, and it will be on the consent agenda for the next meeting. So because of that, I would like to open the floor if there's anyone who would like to address the village board. And again, this, as with any item, even though this isn't an action item, but because it is a specific item on our agenda, the time allocated for public comment will be up to 15 minutes at a precise, no more than 3 minutes per speaker. Ms. Grodnicki.
Hi, I have 2 comments about this. One of them, if I understood correctly, was saying that speakers can't use PowerPoint in order to make their public comments. I started doing that because it was suggested to me that it would be helpful to have a visual from the trustees. So I think that would really impact the effectiveness of some of the comments that I tried to make, especially when I show graphs and people look at this and they're like, oh, right? And so I think you should reconsider that. Also, I would like to bring up that, for example, on the night of the Carvana discussion and vote, there were hundreds of public comments, and the way it's structured right now, only 5 people would have been able to speak. So I encourage you to reconsider also the number of people, especially if it's a very contentious issue. And there are a lot of different viewpoints that you guys should probably consider while you're making your decision, to expand the number of people who can speak at a given topic. Also, so it's one thing to say, okay, we're only going to have 10 people in the beginning of the meeting, and it is great that we don't have to stay here until midnight, because that's how it used to be sometimes. But if we could extend the number of people at the end, especially if there's just a lot of stuff that people want to bring up to you. I know that it kind of makes the meeting drag on, but people don't have to stay. And if they feel very strongly about it, then if they're not one of the first 10 people who speaks, then they can speak at the end, and there would be no limit. So those are the things I'd like to request you to consider before you vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dalka.
Good evening. I'm afraid that what we're addressing here isn't what's really broken. What's really broken is that these trustees do not reply to phone calls, emails, and follow up on promises for meetings. I wouldn't be here, and I would appreciate if the general counsel actually looked at me while I was talking. I wouldn't be here if people did those things and people kept those promises. And I need, that includes the mayor, who promised on election night to come visit me, and she still hasn't done so. I don't want to be here right now. I don't ever want to be here. All I want is my issues in my June 5th, 2025 letter and new crises as they occur with such basic things as utilities not working in my neighborhood to be addressed meaningfully, quickly, with standards. That's what's missing on the other side here. Every other village in the world, and the general counsel knows this because he sits on other councils, has service level times for requests to the village or cities that he works with to have responses to those things and get them resolved. And in many cases, those tickets can't be resolved until the resident is satisfied with the result. That's what we need here to create an accountable government in this village. That's what the Skokie I want to live in. I want a Skokie where people are accountable, things are fixed quickly, things get fixed in hours or days instead of weeks, months, and years. That's what needs to be in this ethics thing for the trustees. I'd also ask that include the village manager team for responsiveness, and any other team where there's something like that. Right now at Church in Lockwood, we were told that the stoplight would be there with sensors and be fully installed by February 1st. Today's May 4th. The stoplight's too big. The stoplights were broken because they were improperly installed and fell over the wind. Fortunately, didn't kill a small child, but it was lying. A large 6-figure stoplight, just fell onto the ground during the wind one day. That was so improperly installed. Where was the engineer checking these things? Where was the guidance from that? Where is the competence for these things? We need accountability from this government, and the things need to be there. I also want to support Ms. Grodnicki before I run out of time and say that it's extraordinarily important that the PowerPoints and photos be maintained. I would have shown you that the pole is leaning 5 degrees to the north this evening, and it would have been very clear to see what I was saying is true. I will send you all a photo of that upon the end of this meeting so you can act on it. I think there needs to be accountability in this government.
Mr. Dalka, your time is finished. Thank you, Ms. Pat.
Good evening, I'm Shelley Pat, I'm a Skokie resident, and Mayor Tennis, I want to thank you for all of the structure and order you have put into public comments over the past year, and everyone who worked on this to try to create a system where members of the public can feel welcomed and know what to expect, and that feel heard in a way that isn't chaotic. So I just really wanted to express appreciation for that. I would like to also echo the concern of when there's something more that there is a more complicated issue or an issue that brings many, many people in the community out, that these short little, the short number of people who are able to speak are not enough. I believe, at least in the informal system that exists now, there is something there that says, and I see nodding, yes, a provision that says that the board can agree to extend the time, and that's very important. I'll also say, another thing that isn't in this also is that might help with everyone not feeling like they need to come and stand here to put their comments on the record, would be maybe also considering, if not with this, but with some other policy, publication of public comments. Some municipalities do that and include them either on the website or on the village website, or in another accessible way, or I think some even do it as part of the agenda packet, so that people who choose to make a public comment for public knowledge know that members of the public will be able to see it without having to file a FOIA request. So just some ideas, but again, thank you for all of the work you've put into this, and I think board meetings go so well, and I think people in the village appreciate being heard.
Thank you, Ms. Pat. Mr. Shaw.
These new public comment restrictions are concerning. Public comment is one of the only ways residents can speak directly to their local government. When you limit how residents can express themselves through displays or interpretations of their comments, while there are no comparable limits on officials and village staff, it raises a serious fairness issue that risks crossing from managing meetings into controlling free speech and undermines transparency and public trust. If leadership is confident in its decisions, it should welcome open expression, not limit it, not restrict it. I urge you to really reconsider these policies.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Our Corporation Counsel is going to provide a couple more insights.
I just wanted to remind the board that these rules are for the public comment time on matters that are not on the agenda. For matters that are on the agenda, the board does have the ability to, or the mayor does, or the chair of the meeting has the ability to gauge the amount of input on a particular matter, and if it does involve a number of people that desires to speak, then to expand the amount of comment on specific agenda items. Reminder, the public comment is for matters that are not on the agenda and thus are subject to time limitations. The other thing I just wanted to make sure that you know, when this does come back for second reading, it'll be similar to the way I did the flag matter. There will be an enabling ordinance that will enable the board to adopt public comment rules and to adopt codes of conduct, and then there will be resolutions exercising your power pursuant to that enabling ordinance. So that's what you'll see on your consent agenda. It's a tidy way of doing it that allows for clarity.
Does that conclude your report?
Oh, Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Alrod. The next item on our business, the next item of business on our agenda is Plan Commission Case 2026-02P, Site Plan Approval for 7120 Laramie Avenue, and this will be presented by our Community Development Director, Johanna Neiden.
Good evening, Johanna Neiden, Community Development Director. Before the board tonight is a request from Hillel Torah North Suburban Day School at 7120 Laramie for site plan approval with relief to support a series of site and building improvements. Both staff and the Plan Commission recommend village board approval. The school is proposing a 2,485 square foot addition along with facade improvements facing Laramie Avenue, landscaping and closure of 2 interior courtyards, and restriping of the north parking lot. The addition is really focused on safety and operations and improving the overall aesthetic of the property. It will create a centralized reception area, a secure vestibule at the main entrance on Laramie, and a dedicated space for administrative and security functions. The car pickup and drop-off circulation will stay as it is today, so the site will more or less function as it sits for those that are not attending the school. And the site currently has 39 on-site parking spaces and has access to an additional 60 spaces through a shared parking easement with the Hebrew Theological College. There are 2 items of relief associated with the site plan approval. The first is for impermeable surface coverage. The request is to allow 68%, where 50% is the standard in the R2 district. I want to note that the site is already at 67.2%, so this addition results in only a modest increase over the existing conditions. The second item is relief for bike parking. The applicant is proposing 8 spaces where 35 are required. The Plan Commission took this up at their March 5th meeting and voted 8-0 in support of recommending this to the village board with 1 absence, and finding both relief requests appropriate for this property. The Appearance Commission also reviewed the project and issued a certificate of appropriateness at their April 15th meeting. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Nyden? Trustee Schechter.
Yeah, I was concerned about the whole issue of the permeable surface, and I understand that basically this keeps it the same. And I don't want to sort of revisit that, but I am. When did we change it to a 50% maximum in an R2 district? And have there been other issues of developers asking for variances on that? Is there a difficulty or a challenge?
I don't know when the 50% would have been placed. That's a pretty typical percentage for a lot coverage for a residential district. So I don't know. We could certainly get that information and share it with the village manager. In terms of this issue surfacing, it doesn't surface regularly, but we have legal non-conforming buildings all over an older built community like Skokie, and so certainly we appreciate that they've tried to stay within the what their existing 67.2 to 68% coverage. They're not asking to max out, and generally when we work with people with the applicants when they come forward, we try to make sure that they are working within the constraints of the site and that they acknowledge and understand that flooding and lot coverage are very big concerns in this community, and we start lots of our conversations with those concerns.
And so there really hasn't been issues in the past or difficulties in meeting that standard. That's
If it's a green site, it would be a different story, but you just have an existing site and they're trying to work within the constraints of the footprint and stay in site. It's a community institution, so restarting from go or some other use would still have this problem.
Thank you.
I have a thought about the property. When the Plan Commission met, did they talk at all about the type of plantings or landscape that would be installed?
I don't recall. I don't think that it was specifically talked about
Okay.
the landscaping, and the Appearance Commission typically talks more about the landscaping.
I've just, one thing that would be of interest to me, if the petitioner would consider making a good faith effort to put in native plantings that could, support, the stormwater management that we are all very interested in. I had the privilege and pleasure of touring Hillel Torah about a year ago, and I know they do have a really nice garden on one side of the building. And the students, as I recall, it was kind of a demonstration garden, and students use it for various activities. But if there could, in and around the property, some native plantings would be appreciated.
Sure, we can work with them on that.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Trustee Iverson.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Director. The Theological College next door, what is their coverage on impermeable?
I don't have that information.
Don't know offhand. With the bicycles, there's 8 provided, 35 in the code. That's quite a large difference. Could you speak to that a little bit?
In terms of the applicant's decision to go with 8?
Yes.
I think the applicant is here this evening. Would you guys like to come and speak?
I'm Stuart Brodsky with White & Company Architects.
Jennifer Slasky, also with White and Company.
So as a part of the Plan Commission submittal, we did submit a transportation narrative. And essentially, it's a private school. 100% of the kids don't live within even 3/4 of a mile of the school, or even a mile and a half, or any typical biking route for young children under 8th grade. So there's essentially no load for bicycling to that site whatsoever. So that's essentially the main reason. And 8 is a reasonable amount for potentially any staff or visitors that might bike there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I could also address the landscape question too.
Please, thank you.
Native plantings is included in this
Wonderful.
plan and was addressed with the Appearance Commission.
Great, thank you so much for letting us know that. If you wouldn't mind staying put, I just want to see if there's any other questions from the board. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the village about this proposal? Again, we'll allow up to 15 minutes at 3 minutes per speaker maximum. Ms. Grodnicki.
Hi, I'd like to address the impermeable surface percentage. And given that climate change is already here and it's only going to get worse, and we are going to have more heavy rainfalls, what I mean is, like, a couple of years ago, we got 2 inches of rain in an hour. And that is going to be not an everyday occurrence, but certainly we're going to have longer spans between huge rainfalls. So I urge you to do whatever you can to say, okay, we're not grandfathering you in. This is it. You're going to be doing your parking lot, time to put in permeable pavers, time to put in a rain garden and swales in ways that maintain safety. I do echo what Stuart said, because I know where this building is, and I would not feel comfortable with my kids biking there. I wouldn't even bike to this building from where I live, so, right, like, you know, I'm all for bike infrastructure, but it doesn't apply. But yeah, I mean, so, yeah, keep in mind that we need to consider the rain that is going to be coming and not lock ourselves into saying, okay, well, we can handle the rain that we're currently getting for the next 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Okay, there being none, I would ask for a motion to concur with the recommendation of the Plan Commission for Plan Commission Case 2026-02P, site plan approval for the property at 7120 Laramie Avenue. Is there a motion? Trustee Iverson and a second, Trustee Pure-Slovan. Any more discussion? If not, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee LaSalivi?
Aye.
Trustee Pure-Slovan?
Aye.
Trustee Schechter?
Aye.
Trustee Kamani Levy?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes. Again, this is first reading, and it will be back before the board for second reading on consent, I assume? Yes, on consent. Okay. The next and final item on our agenda is the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, public hearing number 1. So I will now open the public hearing for Community Development Block Grant Program Year 2026. Mr. Justin Malone will present. Oh, I'm sorry. I have more to read. This is our opportunity to learn more about proposals from community partners on how to spend our allocated funds from the federal government. As the Village of Skokie is a CDBG recipient, the Department of Housing and Interior requires that the Village of Skokie give our residents an opportunity to provide comments and feedback on every stage of the process. A notice for this evening's public hearing was published in the Skokie Review on March 12, 2026, with all of the details for tonight's hearing, including the application procedure and deadlines, as well as the date of the hearing. Please be aware that while we will be closing the in-person public hearing later this evening, the village will continue to accept public comments via email following the presentations this evening. So if you are not able to share your thoughts tonight, you can send an email to the village board at any time prior to June 15th, 2026. The address is public comments, as one word, at skokie.org. Again, public comments, plural, at skokie.org. At the June 15th, 2026 Village Board meeting, it is expected that the Village Board will vote on the proposed annual action plan, which will reflect the projects and funding requests we'll be hearing about shortly. So now I will turn it over to Justin Malone, our Neighborhood and Housing Coordinator, Community Development Block Grant Administrator, who will provide a brief presentation on our process and next steps for this public hearing. Mr. Malone.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and trustees. Justin Malone with the Community Development Department. I also manage and administer the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, as we so lovingly call it. And we're here to talk about that tonight. We have a lot of organizations that are here tonight who are eager to tell you about their grant funding requests. So I'm not going to take up too much of the time, but I just want to speak a little bit about the grant goals and the application process. So the village typically holds 3 public meetings for this grant each year. Tonight's the first of 3, and we'll hear about the funding proposals as was stated by the mayor just a moment ago. At the June 15 meeting, I'll be back to provide an overview of the draft one-year action plan, and we try to budget in as many of the projects and the requests as possible. Once approved, we'll be submitting the document to HUD for final approval. Just a little bit of background about Skokie's participation with CDBG. Skokie qualifies as an entitlement community to receive funding from HUD, and this funding is required to be used to assist low and moderate income residents with projects or activities. In 2024, Skokie celebrated 50 years of participation with the CDBG program, and as the mayor mentioned, public participation is considered a cornerstone for this grant, as HUD recognizes that the residents and organizations of a community are better equipped of how funding can be spent within the community. And you'll hear some of the organizations talk about the requests in different categories. So there are 3 categories for the grant for funding. There's the construction projects category, which these could be for improvements on buildings or roads or sidewalks. The village also uses some of the funding here for our home improvement program. The other category is public services. This could be funding to supplement a vital position or program at an organization that specifically assists low to moderate income residents. And this funding category, although it's one of our most popular ones because we have so many great services in town, is limited to a 15% cap of our total annual entitlement. And the final category is for planning and administration, which provides financial assistance for in-house staffing, projects, and other regional participation. There is a 20% funding cap on this category here. Just one more thing, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the application process. As the mayor mentioned, we did have the application period open on March 12 through April 13, so just about 30 days. We received 19 applications from 17 applicants. So there are a couple that applied for 2 different buckets of funding, so you'll see that when they come up here. The amount of funding that Skokie is scheduled to receive for 2026, which will start on October 1st, is $550,966, which is an increase from last year, which was $532,000. I spoke to some other communities who received this grant funding, and we were one of the few that actually went up this year, so we're very excited about that. So now we're going to hear from our applicants. In the event of time management, we're going to ask the applicants to limit their presentations to the slide format that was provided ahead of time and keep with the 3-minute time limit. And I have a list of the order, and I thought maybe I would just call up 3 organizations at once and we could kind of.
May I interrupt? Sure. I'm curious. I'd like to see a show of hands from individuals. How many folks are planning to address the village board tonight as part of this public hearing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, individuals, so don't both people. So one person who's speaking. Okay, so whoever's speaking, not everybody from an organization. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We are going to take a 5-minute break before you start. Yes, so we will reconvene at 10 minutes to 9. Okay, we will reconvene our public hearing. I'd like to correct one thing in the record. I think I called it HUD, Housing anyway, it's the Department of Housing and Urban Development. I think I threw the word interior in there somewhere. So I conflated a few things. Anyway, HUD is Department of Housing and Urban Development. So, we look forward to your organization of the 16 or 17 folks who will be addressing us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're just going to call the first three. It's AHS Family Health Center, Northwest Compass, and Children's Advocacy Center, please.
And to our speakers, we will be using our clock as we've been using this evening with all of our speakers. So you'll be able to gauge the amount of time you have left, and we will be precise in that 3 minutes. So thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mohammed Paracha. I'm the CEO of AHS Family Health Center. We are a safety net federally qualified health center. We have 4 sites. 2 of them are located in the community area of West Ridge in Chicago, on the far north side of Chicago, 1 in Skokie and 1 in the village of Niles. Annually, we serve about 16,000 unduplicated patients through those 4 sites. And over 60,000 clinical encounters. Through our Skokie site, we serve about 2,000 Skokie residents and about 8,000 plus clinical encounters through the Skokie site. 99% of our patients are below federal poverty level. About 34% of our patients are uninsured, and the rest of them carry Medicaid or Medicare. Our annual operating budget is about $16.6 million, and a majority of our patients are Asian, but an overwhelming majority of our patients are either immigrants or children of immigrants. We provide integrated services. That means we provide medical services, we have integrated oral health, dental services, and then we have behavioral health services, as well as enabling services for our patients. So we applied for 2 buckets this year. One of them is for capital improvement project. When we moved into our site in Skokie in 2014, we inherited this old HVAC system, which is breaking for the last couple of years, multiple times during the year, disrupting services. So we want to minimize that disruption by replacing the HVAC units. We have like 5 of those units on the roof. So we will be replacing, we want to replace that, and we are hoping that village can support that. The total cost of that project is about $69,500, and we are requesting $52,125. Hopefully, the idea is basically we want to improve the interior air quality for our patients and for our staff. The second bucket is for services that we provide inside the facility. So one of the service we offer is a dental clinic, and we are asking for $25,000 there to support our staffing. In times when Medicaid is shrinking, and it will further shrink in 2027 when work requirements kicks in, we are afraid that our uninsured will continue to climb, and to find resources.
And I'm so sorry, but your time is concluded. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Trustee. Alison is not able to come today. My name is Sonia Ivanoff. I'm the Executive Director of Northwest Compass. We serve the Northwest community, and we have been in business for more than 4 years. And we serve any individuals and family that face some kind of housing insecurity, food insecurity, and homelessness in the Northwest suburbs. The funding that we are applying for is regarding housing counseling, homelessness prevention, and something which we call rapid resolution, helping family and individuals that are facing some kind of housing insecurity, eviction, or unstable housing in general, to stabilize their situation, help them overcome crisis, provide barrier reduction funds, and something which we call solution-focused case management. offer them a variety of other wraparound services, kind of connection to mainstream benefits, food pantry, legal assistance, money management, educational classes, and so forth. But majority of the services that we would like to provide are related to helping people overcome crisis and establish some kind of long-term stability and economic vitality. You know, we live in a very affluential community, but unfortunately, 30% of the residents of village of Skokie are so-called rent burden, which means that they pay more than 30% of their income towards rent. And in a lot of cases, especially with the rising cost of living, sometimes it's like some very small misfortune, like a car repair or a few days off of work and increased childcare or even summer school and so forth, put people in a position that they're not able to meet their obligation paying their rent. Eviction is something that changed life of people like in a very bad way very quickly. And whenever somebody has an eviction on a record, it's like it's a downward spiral that it's like it's very difficult for people to overcome it and find other type of like assistance and any secure apartment on their own in the near future. That's why we do everything possible to help people prevent eviction. And we do landlord mitigation and obviously rent assistance and so forth. I try to kind of run some numbers just to give you some information. This is one, we have one apartment in Skokie. This is one of our clients that was homeless for a year, one incarcerated, but now it's like he's working full time, paying his child support that he owned back for thousands of dollars, and it's like now he's visiting his children on a weekly basis and is doing very well in the community. In general, it's like we, in the last like 3 months, I'm looking the clock, it's like from January to March, we served 32 people from village of Skokie that.
And I'm so
call us
sorry,
for
but your time is
assistance.
up. We do see your request here, and we do have
Thank you.
paperwork. So if your time runs out, don't worry, we do have information in writing. So
Thank you.
we will read what we need to about your request, so thank you.
Just to get ready for the next couple of organizations, Journeys, CJE, Senior Life, and Search. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Luna Spivey. I'm here on behalf of the Children's Advocacy Center of North and Northwest Cook County. So our organization, you might have heard of us before, but we provide very vital services for child survivors of abuse and violence. The primary source of our referral system comes through DCFS, the Department of Family and Child Services, as well as law enforcement throughout the area, to basically be a mediary between, basically, instead of a child having to go and speak to a detective in an environment that might be more uncomfortable for them, they can speak to one of our interviewers in a more neutral space for them to disclose the information that needs to be disclosed for an investigation. We additionally also provide mental health services that are all located throughout the 38 communities in the North and Northwest Cook County areas, but particularly we have that location in Arlington Heights, as well as 2 therapists that are currently at our Skokie location. All of the forensic services, those are served out of our Skokie location and our Hoffman Estates location. So for the Skokie CDBG funding, we are requesting $10,000 to support the direct services that we are providing. That primarily means our forensic interviewing and supporting the children who come to us from Skokie particularly, as well as the extended services outside of that, which includes advocacy, that's like guidance through the criminal justice system, as well as providing them with legal guidance, as well as just referrals to our internal and external systems. So additionally, with our mental health program, we serve a large portion of Skokie residents out of our Skokie location. As you can see, 78 we've served in the last fiscal year, or I guess in our last project year, 78 children were served out of Skokie. Those were split between the mental health and the forensic. And we expect to see that increasing because we've seen that number increase steadily over the last two project series. I believe last year it was around 60. Now it's increased to about 78. We do expect that to increase consistently. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for hearing us. Should there be any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before our next speaker, I'd like to just say to everyone in the room, because I know some of you may not stay, how grateful we are for the work that you do to uplift those in our community who need uplifting. I wish we had the funds to give every one of you every cent that you're asking for. Unfortunately, we know the reality that the funds that were allocated will not stretch that far, so we're going to have some tough decisions to make. But thank you all for the incredible and dedicated work that you do.
Good morning, Mayor, and good morning, members of the Village Board. My name is Shayna. I'm with Journeys to Road Home. Journeys is a community-based nonprofit that serves anyone experiencing housing insecurity, either homeless or at risk in Skokie. And the only requirement to be a client is that they live in our service area and they are in a housing crisis. Our objectives are to help clients obtain or maintain permanent housing, feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, and help clients strengthen their economic and personal safety net. For Skokie residents, we provide the only emergency shelter system in our service area. We provide a family shelter, a year-round therapeutic shelter for clients with unique barriers, a housing readiness program, supportive housing, street outreach, diversion funding to keep clients in their homes, daily meals, and through our Hope Day Center, 50 wraparound social services. The Hope Day Center operates 365 days a year. Services include food pantry, clothing closet, transportation, showers, laundry, mental health support, case management, job and housing counseling. Every client works with a dedicated case manager to help them create a goal plan based on the client's strengths, needs, and resources. All of our services are free and available to clients for as long as they need. We have seen the number of Skokie residents who benefited from our services double in the course of 1 year. Respectfully, we are requesting a $10,000 grant to provide direct services for Village of Skokie residents who utilize our Hope Day Center. This funding will pay for case management and other services utilized by Village residents, as well as a portion of Hope Center expenses utilized proportionally by Village of Skokie residents. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and trustees. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk a little bit about our organization. I'm Hannah Mackler. I'm the Senior Grants Manager at CJE Senior Life. The legal name is the Council for Jewish Elderly, but we are known as CJE. So CJE Senior Life's mission is to enhance the quality of life and facilitate independence of older adults. We annually serve more than 20,000 older adults and their families and caregivers throughout the Chicago metropolitan area. Most clients reside in Chicago's north side neighborhoods, north and northwest suburbs, live close to or below the poverty line, and receive free or subsidized services. A range of services includes everything from legal services, benefits services, counseling. We want to be the go-to resource for older adults in our community. We operate affordable housing buildings, including Village Center, which is right around the corner on Galitz. This 150-unit independent living apartment building is home to 185 mostly very low income, as well as low income Skokie residents, age 62 and older. Most residents have an annual household income of $10,000 or below. Village Center is one of a few subsidized senior independent living apartment buildings in Skokie. There are currently no vacancies, and the waiting list has been consistently long for years. We pride ourselves on well-maintained buildings, as well as the supportive services we offer to our residents. We have service coordinators to help with individual needs, and we also offer My Go-To Place, which is a community center that welcomes other members of the community for education and enrichment activities. Today, CJE seeks $96,433 in Skokie Community Development Block Grant funds toward a total project cost of $128,500 and change.
And this is for a carpeting project at Village Center. Costs of what seems like a basic renovation they keep going up. So we appreciate any support we can get. The hallway carpeting on floors 2 through 7 is very old, it's unsightly. We don't presently have trip hazards. We are regularly inspecting to perform when repairs are needed. But for the long term, we want to be proactive and replace the carpets to protect the residents from slips and falls. And we also want to improve the environment, which would benefit the Skokie older adults who call Village Center home, their guests, staff, and other visitors. That includes those living here today, those living here in 5 years, 10 years. It's a long-term investment. This aligns with Skokie's goals to improve facilities for better quality of life for low and moderate income Skokie residents. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
If we could please have Turning Point, North Shore Senior Center, and Metropolitan Family Services come stand up, please.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, Mayor and trustees. My name is Trina, and I'm the development manager at Search 360, formerly known as Search Inc. or just Search, and I'm here with my colleague.
I'm Sean Kirby. I'm the physical plant manager, and I oversee construction and rehabilitation projects. Thank you for having us.
So Search is a nonprofit organization that empowers adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD. We do this through wraparound 360-degree support services for approximately 350 people each year, and we operate 28 community-based homes throughout the city and suburbs. Skokie is home to 80 of the people we support at 13 of our residences, the most of any community we are based in. At Search, we take great pride in maintaining beautiful and accessible homes that are well integrated into their communities. And the Village of Skokie has been an extremely important partner to us for over 2 decades through the CDBG program. Community integrated living arrangements, or CILAs, like ours, receive only a $15,000 lifetime allotment from the state for capital improvements and are otherwise Medicaid funded, making the Village of Skokie a really critical partner to complete these projects. This year, we are respectfully seeking your support to make needed improvements at our Samoset home. The Samoset residence is home to 6 men with IDD, all of whom are low to moderate income and rely on Search to meet their basic needs. Your renewed support will significantly improve the accessibility of the home, which Sean will describe in more detail.
At Samoset, the existing bathroom and hallways are too narrow and not wheelchair accessible. With your support, we will renovate the bathroom and widen 2 doorways. The request for a bathroom renovation would allow our Samoset residents to more easily access and ambulate in the bathroom and to more comfortably age in place. Samoset has been identified as a priority home to renovate to increase maximum independence. Search has an aging population. We've been open since 1968, and many of the folks that we support have been with us throughout this time period.
And at Search, we're really committed to lifelong care for anyone in our homes. And the Village of Skokie support through the CDBG program really allows us to do that, creating personalized and comfortable homes for the people we support. In particular, many of the Samoset residents are long-term residents of Skokie who look forward to being in the community for years to come. So we really appreciate the opportunity to present the renewed request for support, and thank you for your consideration, and thank you for all that you do for us all year round.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Mayor Tennis and village trustees and everyone here. Good evening. I'm Jen Saltz. I'm the development director at Turning Point Behavioral Healthcare Center. So Turning Point is a community mental health center serving over 1,000 clients a year, both adults and children beginning at age 6, 94% of whom are low income, and approximately 26% of whom are Skokie residents. Turning Point has been a proud member of the Skokie community for about 57 years. The Turning Point facility, just down the street at Skokie Boulevard and Washington Street, also accommodates several of our tenants, the local chapter of NAMI, Peer Services, and Tapestry 360 Health, which is a community primary health clinic. Turning Point is requesting funding this year in the amount of approximately $12,000 for a much-needed painting project for all of our hallways and common areas throughout the building. We have a large building. There are 7 hallways in the facility, covering an area of approximately 30,000 square feet. And they have not been painted or repaired for over 14 years. The building is open 24/7, and these common areas experience heavy usage from thousands of Turning Point clients, our staff, guests, and tenants. So this work is long overdue. This facility upgrade will positively impact our entire community and all of the guests who are welcomed into our facility. We're so grateful to the Village of Skokie for supporting our work and all of the many activities that take place under our roof, and for supporting our greater community in so many ways. We appreciate you. So thank you so much for your consideration. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Maura Warneman. I'm the Grants Manager at North Shore Senior Center. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss North Shore Senior Center's work in Skokie and across the northern suburbs. We're grateful for the support that the village has provided to us through CDBG over the past 13 years, during which time we've connected with over 30,000 Skokie residents. In 2026, North Shore Senior Center is celebrating its 70th year of serving older adults across the northern suburbs. We now reach over 25,000 older adults and their families each year through a wide variety of programs and services, including comprehensive wraparound social services, lifelong education and wellness programs, care for people with dementia and other memory issues, caregiver support, therapy, counseling and support groups, and life and legacy planning, and more. In Skokie, we participate and host community outreach and educational events, including hosting older adults benefits assistance programs, conducting presentations at the library about dementia, participating in events like the Skokie Resource Fair, the Park District Health Fair, and Boomers and Beyond, and conducting reviews of the health needs of individuals being discharged from Skokie Hospital. Last year, we reached 24,730 older adults and their family members through our social services programs, 78% of whom are low income, and that includes 2,647 Skokie residents. You can see some of the other outcomes highlighted on these slides as well. We are requesting both public service and capital improvement funding this year. Public service funding is requested to support our Senior and Family Services Department, through which we provide critical social services to help older adults to age in place and continue living in their homes. This includes connecting them with home-delivered meals, assisting them with applications for benefits, offering caregiver support, investigating elder abuse, and offering other services as needed. Additionally, we are requesting capital improvement funds for some much-needed updates to our main facility in Northfield. These improvements include installing LED lighting throughout the building for improved energy efficiency, installing automatic bathroom door openers on restrooms, and completing some exterior work. While small, these updates will ensure the continued safety and comfort of members, visitors, and staff. Since our facility is located outside of Skokie, the capital request is for 11% of total project costs, since approximately 11% of our clients reside in the village of Skokie. With this support, we expect to reach approximately 2,850 older adults in Skokie next year through all services, which is an internal investment of over $1 million based on our per client costs. Our thanks to the Village Board for their past support of North Shore Senior Center, and we hope to continue working together to help older adults in Skokie. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
If we could please have Shore Community Services, Orchard Village, and Early Childhood Alliance coming up next.
Hi, good evening. My name is Daisy Vasquez from Metropolitan Family Services. I'm one of the clinicians from our behavioral health team over here at Skokie. Metropolitan is an agency that hopes to support families and individuals from all ages reach their full potential. So some of the programs that we offer at Skokie include substance use prevention, adult protective services, adoption support and preservation, and behavioral health. So the behavioral health team offers behavioral health services to community members and free services to uninsured residents of Skokie. We also work with the Skokie Youth Ordinance Court to offer constructive alternative ways for the individuals, the young individuals. So our organization is requesting $10,000 to continue our work with the Skokie Youth Ordinance Corps and provide free behavioral health services to uninsured or underinsured Skokie residents, and to gap fill our behavioral health fee for service program. So we hope to serve at least 65 residents of the Skokie area, hopefully more. That's pretty much it. So I thank you for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees. I'm Erin Ryan, CEO of Shore Community Services. For over 75 years, our mission has been to improve the quality of life for people with intellectual and other developmental disabilities through educational, residential, vocational, and related programs provided with community integrated supports and services. We envision a world where people with intellectual and developmental disabilities are celebrated and empowered to live with dignity, autonomy, and equal access to every aspect of community life. We provide residential programs here in Skokie. One of our day programs called the Lois Lloyd Center is here in Skokie, and our administrative headquarters are in Skokie. So our request this year is for $75,000 to make necessary improvements to the roof and skylight at our administration center, or Lois Lloyd Center, which is home to about 60 people every day, 40 of whom are our clients, very low income, vulnerable, aging, and medically complex individuals who come to our day program. And about 20 to 30 staff every day use the building as well. The village might be familiar with this building, as it used to belong to the village as the police station. And since we purchased the building in 2014, we've done preventative maintenance on the roof, but it really has exceeded its life expectancy. So now we are encountering leaks throughout the building, which of course pose a public health hazard for the very vulnerable people that we're caring for. I think you can see the roof has all different levels and all different materials, but what we do know is that numerous sections of the flat roof have undergone 2 rubber membrane applications and will need a complete tear-off. The main entryway, which includes the custom skylight, is the worst area of the building, and the skylight is leaking in 2 different places. The total cost of the roof replacement is $172,000. We're requesting $75,000 with a $25,000 match so that we can repair the worst areas first and do this in phases, including replacing or repairing the skylight. So these improvements will eliminate leaking issues and will create a healthy environment for our staff and our clients who use the building on a day-to-day basis. Again, thank you so much for your consideration and for all of your support for Shore Community Services.
Thank
Appreciate you all.
I'm Marlene Hodges of Orchard Village. Orchard Village is similar to Shore, is similar to Search. We serve adults with developmental disabilities, and we have a small campus about a mile away that has a little more than 4 acres, and we have a number of programs on our little campus. One of the buildings is Orchard Academy, which is an alternative high school transition program. Yes, there are a number of high school transition programs. Niles West is right next door. One school is not enough. One school is not good for everybody. The participants of our high school transition program tend to be intensive need, and we're basically at a 1-to-1 student-staff ratio. There are stairs to the front of the building, and the stairs are outside. In the winter, there is almost nothing I can do to keep the stairs safe. I need to put some sort of canopy or cover over the stairs to keep people, both the staff and the clients coming and going out of the building safe. And what am I looking for? The funding request is $24,375, which is 75% of the cost of putting one of those kind of plastic canopy things that you see on restaurants to keep people coming and going out of the building safe. We really appreciate all of the support that Orchard Village has received over the years. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I understand that you are a graduate of our Citizen Fire Academy.
That's true.
We
yes.
thank you for that. Your classmate here, our village clerk, mentioned that you were one of her fellow students, so thank you.
The fire department was awesome. I came away with it in an enormous respect. It was just awesome.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees. Tina Vanderwalker, I'm with the Early Childhood Alliance of Niles Township, and I'm here with my colleague. You want to say your name?
Good evening. My name is Astrid Suarez. I'm happy to be here, and I also working with Tina.
So we were here a couple of months ago, so hopefully you guys remember a little bit about our organization. But we are a fairly new nonprofit. We're a very small organization. We've got 3 full-time staff members, including the 2 of us, and some subcontracted family liaisons and 1 part-time finance person. So our mission is to really advocate and coordinate comprehensive community-based supports for young children and their caregivers. That promote equity and honor strengths and diversity, and our focus is on language access. We know that in Skokie and all of Niles Township, language can oftentimes be a barrier to families accessing information. So our approach, we have hired 6 family liaisons who represent different communities in the area that oftentimes experience barriers to information and access. So they speak 7 different languages, including Dari, Farsi, Pashto, Arabic, Assyrian, Urdu, and Spanish. So to advance our mission, we have adopted a collective impact approach and are really focused on recognizing families' cultural wealth, so looking at it from an assets-based approach as opposed to looking at what they're missing. We know that children exist in the context of their families. We can't look at them independently, and so supporting families is really integral to the work that we do. So what we are looking for is this is our first time applying for CDBG funding, so thank you all for this opportunity. For funding for our family liaisons to support the individualized connections that they are making for a lot of our underserved families in this area. Using their culturally relevant connection and outreach, they have connected and built trust with many families in the area that are oftentimes hard to connect with. And so we're hoping that funding can help them to connect families with public benefits, rental support when needed, emergency assistance, and this will then keep families housed. This is something that our family liaisons do on a regular basis. We work pretty closely with the Village of Skokie social workers and also with the Niles Township government with their emergency assistance as well. As most of you...
I'm so sorry, but your time is up. Thank you for your presentation.
All right, if we could just have the final 4, Open Communities, Peer Services, Wings, and HODC. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and Village Trustees. I'm with Open Communities. My name is Sarah Delgado. I'm the Director of Housing Counseling and Education. and HUD-certified housing counselor with Open Communities. Our mission is to strive to create more inclusive communities by ensuring that everyone has equal access to safe and stable housing. So how do we do that? Open Communities makes neighborhoods more welcoming and equitable by educating everyone, including community members, service providers, housing providers, on their civil rights, their responsibilities, by investigating illegal housing discrimination practices, and enforcing fair housing policies throughout North and Northwestern Cook County and suburban Cook. Through community education and one-on-one counseling in our housing counseling department, we help clients plan for housing changes, increase in housing costs, family changes through budgeting, debt reduction planning. We prevent eviction and foreclosures and build generational wealth through our one-on-one counseling and through our group education. Building generational wealth can happen with new homeownership, folks who would be at risk, not being able to attain homeownership normally can go through our program and get that education and counseling, as well as we have a number of older adults who are looking to age in community, and we walk with them steps through by step to create an action plan to create a sustainable housing solution. Our goal is to promote equal access to housing opportunities and advance economic empowerment of the most marginalized. And for over 50 years, we've been advancing our region towards a more equitable and inclusive future. So annually, we serve about 1,500 community members. We are requesting funding for our fair housing and housing counseling services to continue that service. We're requesting this funding because the $25,000 because we know that our Skokie neighbors are struggling with their housing right now. They're struggling to afford their home. 27% of homeowners are cost burdened, paying 30% or more on their housing. And someone else had a different quote, but a large percentage, between 40 and 56% of renters are cost burdened, which puts them at risk of losing their homes altogether. We also know from our work in the Skokie community that our neighbors are facing discrimination, whether that's due to national origin, race, source of income, such as having a housing choice voucher, or due to justice involvement or disabilities, and more protected classes. There's so much need in our community. Oops, sorry, I'll go to the next one. We anticipate serving approximately 191 residents of Skokie in the following year, and we respectfully ask for the $25,000 to continue that service.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ann Brown, the Development Director of Peer Services.
And I'm Alicia Gaddis. I'm the Substance Use Disorder Treatment Program Director at Peer Services.
So we'd like to begin by thanking the village for your support over many years, which has helped us provide life-saving substance use treatment to hundreds of Skokie residents. We did not receive support last year, and we recognize that funding is limited and there are many important needs to support. But we'd like to share with you why we think it's critical for you to support Peer this year. So thankfully, opioid overdose deaths have declined since 2022, in large part due to harm reduction resources like Narcan, the opioid overdose reversal medication, and high-quality treatment, both of which Peer provides to Skokie residents. That said, overdose deaths and untreated substance use disorders remain significant problems in our region.
On January 5th, Peer launched a new mobile medication-assisted recovery program, bringing care into the community for people with substance use disorders who face many barriers to accessing health care. Mobile MAR now operates 8 hours per week at the Niles Township Respite Center, building connections with many guests and initiating opioid treatment for 3 individuals, which is an important step towards access and recovery. Charles Biggins, the Respite Center manager, shared, Peer Services provides a critical clinical bridge for our clients. Their twice-weekly presence allows individuals struggling with addiction to access expert guidance and life-saving medication assistance in a very familiar environment, providing the stability that our clients need to take the next step in their lives. In addition to Respite Center clients, many other Skokie residents access treatment at Pier. And I would like to share the story of Sharon, who has given us permission to use her name. She sought medication-assisted treatment from Pier several years ago after decades of opioid use, which came to a head with the loss of her son. With methadone treatment, counseling, and psychiatric care for depression, she stabilized and began rebuilding her life. Today, Sharon has over 4 years of sustained recovery, stronger relationships with her family, and a renewed sense of health and hope. She credits Pier with giving her the support to save her life. We ask you to provide funding to support the recovery of respite center clients, individuals like Sharon, and many other adolescent and adult Skokie residents with low family incomes who receive treatment at Pier for opioid, alcohol, and other substance use disorders. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Just like we was on your application, basically.
Oh,
So just, let's just have it on here for you.
Sure, sure.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Leticia Ferrito, Director of Grants. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you for a moment. Before I also go into that, I also just want to say thank you so much because the village has been so grateful or so generous the past 2 years to help us maintain the property that we do have in Skokie. Over the past 2 years, you guys have been able to help improve our infrastructure for our security. And so that is, amazing, particularly with the clientele that we serve. WINGS, as you may know, is the largest domestic violence organization in the state of Illinois. We served on approximately 1,365 clients last year, which of that, approximately 20 to 30 of those individuals are your residents or are becoming your residents, in part due to our 4-unit apartment building, which is disclosed. I believe the address is disclosed in the application. Your residents and our clients have full access to all of our services, which is adult and children's clinical counseling. It has Safe House services, Survivor Lifeline, which is a mentorship program through lived experience. But all of those things to say that our request tonight is, again, for a capital request. As with your own home, repairs continue, right? So our 4-unit apartment building is about 66 years old, and it has 4 units, 2 bedrooms apiece. So about 860 square foot per each unit. And we are asking from the village for $33,600 to improve the hot water system, which is going to require us a phased project to replace the hot water tanks, one for each unit, and then to replace a lot of the piping that all that occur. I did write all of that really beautifully in the application because that is not my forte. However, we really would greatly appreciate that because that's just going to continue to serve our clients and your residents to make sure that they know that they deserve a self-sustainable, a safe home, even, particularly after their experience. I believe that's really everything I have. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Click this. Okay. Hi, thank you all for your patience, and I'm the last one, so hopefully we can get you all out of here soon. I'm Laura Youngberg. I am the Director of Fundraising for Housing Opportunity Development Corporation, which many of you know. We've been around for over 40 years, and we're based in Skokie. Our mission is to build and manage quality, affordable housing, creating opportunities for people to not only live, but also thrive. We've developed 35 properties with over 650 homes in 18 municipalities. And we are able to, through those homes, provide affordable housing for nearly 1,000 residents. This housing supports working families, seniors, and people with disabilities in the northern suburbs of Chicago. In 2014, with the support of the Village of Skokie, HODC was able to acquire and rehabilitate 4 buildings, which became part of the North Suburban permanent supportive housing project. And those, we have, that's 18 units, housing 42 people. And we did many repairs then, but it has come time to do some repairs now, including replacing a deteriorating sewer line and a boiler. In order to keep rents low, we look to funding from the village and other resources so that we do not have to raise rents in order to maintain the properties. The residents in these buildings are extremely low income and they all have disabilities. We have not received funding from the village since 2023 for the CDBG grants. I can never say that. I've been doing this for years. And would very much appreciate your support in helping to maintain these buildings as safe, affordable housing for the residents who are at most risk of losing their homes because they have fixed incomes and need to stay connected to their community resources. Thank you very much, and call it a night.
Thank you.
So that was everybody. So thank you for your time and patience. This is the last thing I want to say. Again, I'll be back on June 15 to talk about the action plan, how we're going to get everything that we heard about today as much as possible into our plan so we can try to fund these things. We have some other things that we wanted to talk about, details about the village initiated programs, and then we're going to send it off to HUD, and then all those funding starts after October 1st. So that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Malone. Is there a motion is in order to close tonight's public hearing? Trustee Pure-Slovan, second by Trustee Kamani Levy. Any discussion? Other than that we appreciate all of the information given tonight. Yes, Trustee Schechter.
Just a quick question, Justin, what happened to Connections for the Homeless? Just keeping a tally, they seem to be the one missing.
Since the application.
Point of order, that's not a discussion on the motion, per se. After, yes. That's okay, so we'll go ahead and, on advice of counsel, we will close the public hearing. So will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Lisa
Aye.
Trustee Pure-Slovan?
Aye.
Trustee Schechter?
Aye.
Trustee Kamani Levy?
Aye.
Thank you, the motion passes. Trustee Schechter, the floor is yours.
Yeah, just asking about Connections for the Homeless. That was the one application that we didn't hear.
Yes, since the application window closed and the documents were created, and between then and tonight, I received a call that they needed to withdraw their application due to administrative bandwidth, I guess. So they said they're really thankful for the opportunity and they're going to apply next year.
Thank you. Okay. The last item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who has not addressed the village board who would like to spend 3 minutes at the podium addressing us now? There being none, is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Trustee Kamani Levy, seconded by Trustee Allison Pure-Slovan. Discussion? Okay, being none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Lisa Levy?
Aye.
Trustee Pure-Slovan?
Aye.
Trustee Schechter?
Aye.
Trustee Kamani Levy?
Aye.